I'm excited I get to start off this brand new series called Your New Playlist. And it's not about like your Spotify or Apple playlist or how many of them you got, which I'm curious. How many of you who use Spotify? Oh, it's a lot more than I thought. All right, how many of you use Apple? Yeah, hi, I'm an Apple user. Next question I have for you guys is, how many playlists do you guys have? Like, just curiosity. 2? I got 3, 4. I've got 10. Wow, okay. I have several myself. I've got my worship music, the Jesus music that I don't consider worship music. Then I've got my, windows down. It's a great day outside. I'm in a good mood. I've got my obvious Red Rocks playlist, because if I don't have only Red Rocks playlist, then it's not mine. But this series is about tapping into the superpower of a God-honoring mindset and choosing wisdom when it comes to your thoughts every day. I don't know about you, but there have been times where I definitely had like a fear of, especially when I was a little kid, there was a fear of fireworks. Now, my fear of fireworks was because of the loud noises. I didn't like the spontaneous burst. Like, you don't know exactly when they're going to go off, right? They just kind of, you hear the first boom and you're just waiting. When's it going to happen? So there were times during 4th of July, I unfortunately would sit there with my ears plugged and cry the entire time just because I didn't like the noise. Or there are times where growing up between like Martinsville and Franklin, I'd go to Martinsville football games back in the day because my dad would go. And anytime Martinsville would score, they shoot off a loud firework. The bright ones that are really, really loud. So I'd be crying after they score, and then my dad would have to call my grandpa to come and pick me up, take me home, because he wasn't going to deal with it. I don't blame him. I would not have dealt with myself either. I did not do well with loud noises. But now, if you know me, 4th of July is my absolute favorite holiday. I will go to as many fireworks shows as I can in a year because they're just fun to watch. There's an event coming up this coming Saturday, the 20th. It's called Thunder Over Louisville, and they shoot fireworks off of 2 barges and a bridge, and it's a grand finale the entire time. It's one of my favorite events to go to. Unfortunately, I'm not going this year, but it's fun. So what was the fear that you guys had as a kid? I want you to turn to a neighbor or someone and just tell them what it is real quick. You guys got about 30 seconds or so. All right. Now I'm curious, what are some of the fears that you guys had as a kid? Heights? What'd you say? Fireworks? I like that. Zach, I don't know how you stand up here. These lights are so bright and I can't see anybody. I don't like it. I don't know how you do it. Anyway, I do have a fear of bright lights. What else? Burglars? That makes sense. I feel like that's still a fear to this day, and I don't blame you. Drowning? Okay, Calvin? Burglars. That makes sense. Yeah. Getting kidnapped? Wow. Okay. This is not what I was expecting as to, yeah. What? Ladybugs? Okay. I get that. They're just, and when you smash them, they smell too. It's just weird. No. If you smash ladybugs, they also smell.
I know exactly what's going on. It's Curtis's fault. I'm being careful.
I'll be curious to hear that story later. All right. But, ladybugs make sense because there were times where in my childhood home, we would wake up and there'd just be ladybugs across our ceiling, like they'd be infested in the house. So I get it. I don't blame you by any means. But, unfortunately, we all know what it's like to be afraid of something, but have you ever wondered if there was a way to get over your fears? To never be controlled by fear again? In the words of the great poet, Taylor Swift, can we truly be fearless? Like, is it possible? Unfortunately, I'm not sure that is something that we can ever get rid of. Sure, our fears probably are not the same now as they were when you were a kid, but you may not have that fear of clowns or ladybugs. Now, do you still have that fear of ladybugs? Okay. Well, spiders. We'll go with spiders. That too. But when you guys get older, you guys have new fears. As in high schoolers, you have that fear of, am I going to pass this class? Is my parent going to lose their job? Am I going to make new friends wherever I go? Am I going to be left out of a friend group? But there are so many people in this world that pretend to be fearless. They walk through life like fear isn't real. They pretend to be that fearless act, and we just know it's an act. While we might be really good at pretending to be fearless, at times, the reality is that none of us can actually escape fear. The more we try, the harder it gets to escape. You can ignore it for a while and try to say it's nothing and even attempt to push through, but eventually fear shows back up, and just like that, it's all you think about. Fear has a way of changing our playlist in our minds, but when we let fear take over our thoughts, we start wondering, what if? Like, what if I don't make friends? What if my parents get divorced? What if I fail my test? What if my family member doesn't get better? And what if I don't get into the school that I applied for? My number one choice. And fear is such a difficult topic to talk about because fear can be helpful at times, right? Those what ifs that we think about, they keep us safe. Like, obviously, what if I step too far? What am I going to do? I'm going to fall. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take that step back and know where I'm standing. Or the what if of, like, you have that fear to fail, but what does that do? It ends up pushing you to study harder, right? To pass that test eventually. But the Bible gives us such a great example of real people who experienced real things in life. And I think the Bible gives us such a great example of like how they dealt with it. And I 100% believe that it can teach us on how to handle things to this day. So Jesus walked with, 12 of his closest friends, the disciples, and they saw him perform miracles, heal people, he forgave sins, all the really cool things. And you would think that since they were Jesus' closest friends, that they would have nothing to fear, right? They were walking with the one who could do anything. But I can tell you that there was definitely a time where they were just as afraid as probably the most of us were. So I'm going to set up the story for you guys. And it goes like this. Well, there was a time back in Matthew, we're going to read in Matthew, but Jesus just got done healing somebody and driving out demons from a demon-possessed person. And a crowd started to form, and Jesus got into a boat. And the disciples followed him. They all got in. They were going to the other side of the lake. So we pick up the story in, I forgot this important part. So while they were in the boat, a storm came up, right? And waves were crashing over. The boat was rocking, and I don't know about you, but I would not want to be a part of it. When I think of that, this is what I think of. There's no sound. We had to turn the sound off because, when you're in this kind of a situation, some words may slip out that shouldn't be said. So you see the boat. It was way up there. It's coming down. And it crashes, but that's the hold on, wait a minute. It gets better. And they all fall, right? Okay. Or even this next one. They're just sitting there. Ooh, nice waves popping up on the glass, right? Beautiful. Wow. This raging storm. Ready? Oh, that wasn't it. Dang it. I was ready for it. There it is. Water comes in, and look at that guy. That guy's like, no, okay, I'm out. I'm done. I got it. So that's what I think of when I think of this story specifically. Those were big ships. Those weren't this little tiny boat that the disciples and Jesus were in. Those were big boats when that happened. So I can only imagine what this boat was actually going through, what the disciples thought of. But here's what it says in Matthew chapter 8, verses 24 and 25. It says, suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, Lord, save us. We're going to drown. He was sleeping? I'm sorry. I get that he just, drove out some demons from a demon-possessed person and healed somebody. And he's God, yes, but he's also that part human. But he was taking in, how do you sleep during that? Would you be able to sleep during that? Those waves, there are some other videos, like that was a 20-minute long video that I shortened up to just however long that was, of just like boats. There was one of them in a cruise ship where it looks like he's walking sideways because of how the boat was laying. No, I couldn't do it. But they were looking for Jesus. They were calling out to him, wanting him to wake up. And they were probably thinking, Lord, are you going to wake up? Is this the time? Are we going to drown here? So Jesus replied by saying this. He replied, "You have little faith. Why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and waves obey him." I personally think that I would be in the same boat as the disciples, worried, not sure if Jesus was actually going to wake up and help them. Now, I can't be sure because I obviously wasn't there, but I don't think Jesus said, "You have little faith," because he was mad. I also don't think that he was trying to make them feel bad for not having enough faith that they'd be safe. I think he was trying to show them that even when they're afraid, their faith in the one is bigger than anything that they might fear. Yeah, Jesus calmed the storm and the waters, but he also calmed the raging storm inside of them. Not just by stopping the winds and waves, but showing them that that fear didn't have the final vote. Did the disciples have a reason to be afraid? Yeah. They were on the water in the boat in the middle of a huge storm, and that is scary even for me. But Jesus wanted them to know that their fear didn't have to be the only thing that they felt. It didn't have to be the only voice that they listened to. It didn't have to be the only song on their playlist. There's a song that we sing up here sometimes, and it's called "Fear Is Not My Future." And it's on one of my playlists for sure because there's so many great songs, but that one specifically stuck out to me when I was given this topic to talk about. And the bridge says this: "Fear is not my future, you are. Sickness is not my story, you are. Heartbreak's not my home, you are. And death is not the end, you are." And I think this song is a great reminder that fear isn't our future. While we pray for relief against these fears, these sicknesses, the heartbreaks, that they may be a lasting part on this side. You guys are good. Not yet. Not yet. You don't have to come up here just yet. Sorry. I'm not there yet. But those that they may feel like a really long, lasting part of your life on this side of heaven, but they don't have to be the defining part. When you start to hear fear get louder and louder, turn it down and crank the song if you need to, because you can control the volume on fear. Jesus' voice and presence could play louder, but fear is loud, but it's a liar. While we may not be facing a storm at this moment, or we may not be on the sea, but we've all experienced fear. We've all felt afraid and out of control at times. And Jesus was with the disciples as he's with us as well. Through any storm that you're facing with, through any fear that you're dealing with, he's there. Fear's loud, but I promise you it's a liar. Now, we all know how light switches work, right? On, off, and I'm sure some of you, if not all of us, at one point, have been yelled at for leaving a light switch on, right? Leaving the room and just kind of it happens. It happened to me as well. But I don't want you to think of fear like a light switch. That's something that we flip on and off. Because, like I said earlier, fear can be a good thing. So what I want you to do is think of fear as like a dial. So, fear is it's really loud, it's cranked right now, and you're just like, I'm not going to get through this. I don't think I can do it. I'm scared. This fear of failing, I can't handle it. But instead, dial it down. Turn it down. While we turn the dial down on fear, we're not shutting it out completely. We're simply not giving it the loudest voice. Yeah, hard things are going to show up. And things will happen that are scary. And fear's going to creep in, and it's going to hang out sometimes. So you might not be able to turn it off, but when the fear takes over your thoughts, like an annoying song that gets stuck on repeat, you can dial it down. One way to do that is focus on what's true. Instead of letting your mind wander into a million what ifs, you can focus on what is. You can focus on the truth that we find in Scripture, and that reminds us that God is with us for whenever we experience fear. Psalm 23 says this: "Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me, your rod and your staff protect and comfort me." And in the next one, Isaiah 41:10 says, "Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you. I will hold you in my victorious right hand." I want you guys to focus on those two for a second. Because while we may walk through dark times, we don't have to be afraid because God is with us. He's with us in the dark times, and he's with us always. I just want to, the great reminder that fear is loud, but it's a liar. Fear is loud, but it's a liar. Maybe you need a little help talking or even identifying what you're afraid of. But I can tell you this, there are leaders in the back, your small group leaders, who actually care about you. Or maybe have that trusted adult in your life that you can talk to. Talk to them. Help, if you don't know exactly what it is that your fear is, hopefully we or that trusted adult can walk you through it. Because like I said earlier, there are times myself where I will walk around as if, I'm afraid of something, I have that fear. I try to push it off if it's not that big of a deal. But it comes roaring back. At the end of the song, Fear is Not My Future, it says, goodbye fear, goodbye guilt, goodbye shame, goodbye pain, goodbye grave, it's a new horizon. And that's what we get to say when we let God take control of it. When we start that new playlist in our minds and we don't let fear get to us, we too can say goodbye to it. And then we can say hello peace, hello joy, hello love, hello strength, hello hope, it's a new horizon. I don't like saying goodbye to certain things. There have been numerous things in my life where I'm like, I have to say goodbye to it, but I don't want to, right? Goodbye can be hard sometimes. But saying hello to something new, saying hello to something amazing is so much better. You can say hello peace, hello joy, hello love. Who doesn't love love? You can say hello strength and hello hope. Having a new hope it's such a great thing to have.